The total coming to my introduction, I am Pawan. Okay, I have 8 years of experience. So currently, I'm working as a machine learning engineer for a Morgan Stanley client. Okay, and previously, I starting after the beginning of my career, I worked as a UI developer. Later on, I'm working as a Java developer. After that, I've upskilled to Python and started working on Python now. And also, I have some BI development knowledge also. So this is about me. So before going to the demo, first I will explain about why how web application is working. Then later on I will explain about why we are using Python instead of using Java. So what is the difference between Java and Python? So what is the main use of Python? And apart from that, I will discuss the roles and responsibilities of a Python developer. So if we learn Python, for how many roles we can apply for job. Okay. So we will discuss about all these things. So for every web application, okay, so for every web application, we have three languages. Okay. The first one is front-end technologies. Okay. Front-end technologies like HTML, CSS, Java. Okay. So for every application, we will have a front end. So this is front end. So this UI, assume this is a UI. So UI has UI, okay. It has some fields, text, images, everything we will have, okay. And a submit button, we have some buttons, okay. So this is the UI. UI is developed with the technologies called HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or else advanced technologies like Angular and React.js. Okay, so this is the front end technologies. Okay, and coming to the back end, so assume this is as a back end. Okay, so this is back end. Back end is nothing but a combination of back end knowledge, back end technology, and also the database technology. Okay, so here we can use Java, Python, .NET. Okay, at last we will have a database. Database technologies are consider this as the database, okay, and database technologies are SQL Server, okay, SQL Server, MySQL, MongoDB, Cassandra, okay. So these are the database technologies, okay. Now coming to the backend, okay. So what is the main use of backend? To process the data from front end to database, to save the data or to fetch the data, okay. To save the data or to fetch the data from the database, we use this backend. Means nothing but in simple terms, we can call it as to process the data from front end to database. Okay, so for every web application, it contains three layers inside the backend. Okay, it contains three layers. Okay, so the first layer is controller. Every web application, but the terminology is different here. That's it. In every language, for to develop a web application, they will have three layers. Okay, but the terminology, the layers names will change. That's it. But the functionality is same. Okay, and the coding also slightly different because there is syntax difference, right? So according to the syntax with respect to the language, it will we can use those layers. Okay, so first one is controller. Okay, next the second one is, so first controller layer. So first of all, it will check this controller is always associated with UI. Okay, so it will check whether the request come from whether the request come from sign up or login or to some updation, any updation you need to do for the profile. Consider any web application or consider this as a Amazon web application. Okay, so every user will do this kind of operations, right? Like sign up, login, updating password, okay, or deleting something, like deleting something. So these are all called CRUD operations, nothing but create, read, update. So these are all called CRUD operations. Okay, so whether the from controller, what it will do is it will redirect the request. So if the request come for sign up, then it has to go to this particular logic, sign up logic. Okay, if the request comes for login, so it has to go to for some authentication process, or else for to update, it will go to update function. In this way, it will redirect the request to the service layer. So this is called service layer. Service layer is also known as business layer. Okay, service layer is also called as business layers. Business layers is nothing but, so here we need to write the logic, business logic first. Okay, to understand about business logic, first we need to understand about business, what kind of business. So what the domain? So the domain belongs to banking sector. Okay, is the domain belongs to banking sector, or any retail, or else inside banking we have lots of subdomains also, line of business. So like line of businesses like stocks, okay, banking services or stocks, okay, stocks, savings account services, okay, loans department, okay, insurance department. These kind of line of businesses will have in banking sector. So most of my career I worked in the banking sector only. I don't have any knowledge on retail and any other domains, because if you work on a banking application, so it is most difficult domain, one of the most difficult domain, because if you work on domain, you can work in any domain. It is very easy to understand any other domain knowledge. So here we will write the business logic. Business logic means, for example, if I open Amazon, okay, so if I open Amazon.in, okay, so if I click here, if I click any of here, for example, here, if I click on Fire TV, I'm getting these type of options, right? So if I click on mobiles, okay, so this kind of logic we have to write in the service layer. Okay, so for tomorrow, for example, day after tomorrow, there is a festival we have. So for that, we have to apply some new offers. So for those offers, we need to edit the business logic. So only we have to edit the service layer. Okay, This is about service layer. So controller will get the request. So as part of the request, whenever a controller got a request, it will check whether the request comes for sign up, login, updation, delete. Okay, so what kind of request it is? So based on the request, it will redirect to that particular service. Okay, this is about the service layer. And coming to last layer, this is called DAO, nothing but data accessing layer. Data accessing, sorry, data accessing object. Okay, this DAO layer is always associated with the database because so here the database language is different. Okay, here the middleware language is different. For example, this is Python. Okay, this is SQL server. So database always understands which language? SQL language, structured query language. Okay, but Python, it will not understand the Python language. So here we need to convert the queries, Python language into queries, and we need to connect to database and trigger those queries to the database. Okay, so for that we have a layer called DAO layer, which is always associated with the database. And so whatever the code operations we need to do. So if you want to create a user, it will create a user. Okay, if you want to update the customer name or any password you need to update, you can update. If you want to get the details of a person, you can get the details of a person. Okay, or else at last if you want to delete any profile, simply you can apply the delete query. Okay, so in this way, so the request forms, for example, here I'm trying to log in, sign up. Okay, I will give the first name, last name, and all my details, and here I will click on sign up button. Okay, request comes here to the controller, and controller will check whether the request comes from login, updation, delete. So as per the request type, so here I came for sign up. So here we have the business logic, different business logics here. Okay, this is for sign up, this is for login, this is for updation. For those operations, with respect to that operations, we will write the business logic. Okay, so controller will check which type of request. So we came for sign up, so it will redirect it to the sign up logic. Okay, here from the sign up, so it will take all the details and create a Python object from this service layer. Again, here in DAO layer, there has the details of database, and they establish a connection between the database, and from these details, whatever the Python object we got, it will insert the data into the database. Okay, so this is about the web application. Any queries here? Hello, Raj, Ramya, Venkat. Any queries here? Did you understand how the web application will work?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Mm, Actually, I need hello Ramya, Raj, Venkat, Kuna. So I want some response from you guys because I just want to know that you need to understand about these things. It is main basic.
Yeah, that is clear. Pawan, can you explain the third one again? DAO.
Yeah, DAO is nothing but data accessing object. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Sorry. Okay. So yeah, Raj, tell me. Okay. So DAO is nothing but data accessing object. Okay, this layer, DAO layer, which is always associated with database. Why? Because so database have some different knowledge. Sorry, different. It will understand different language. Okay, So for if you consider SQL Server, it understands SQL language, structured query language. Okay, but here we are using which language? Python language. Here we are using. Okay, database will not understand this Python language. So what we have to do from Python only, we need to give some SQL language. So for that, first we need to establish a connection between database. Okay, so to establish a connection, we have some set of lines. Okay, to establish the connection. So we need to give the database details like um, dialect, okay, driver name, okay, database name, okay, to access username, password. So all these details we need to give to this Python, okay, DAO layer. Here we need to establish a connection here. Okay, after establishing a connection with the database, so whatever the request and whatever the Python object we are getting from service layer, we need to insert that details into the database. Okay, so why we need to insert? Because sign up means it is just a validation. So that tomorrow if you want to log into that application, again you need not to sign up. You just need to give the login login details, credentials. You need to give username and password. Okay, if you give username and password, it will authenticate and you can able to log in. Okay, so now you got it right. What is meant by DAO layer? Data accessing object. Okay, so in Spring they will call MVC, model view controller. Model, this is view and controller. So the layers are same, but the terminology is different. Okay, and in Python Django, they will call MVT. MVT is nothing but model view template. Okay, so here the layers are common, the operations are common, but the terminology will be different. That's it. Okay, so this is about web application. Okay, now coming to REST services. So API services, REST services. So for example, we'll take one more time. See, for example, I have a Zomato application. Okay, so from Zomato application, I place some order. Okay, so again, I need to place some order. Okay, to okay. So these are the orders I need to place from Zomato. So after selecting these items, okay, what we have to do? We have to do the payment. Okay, payment section we need to go. So in the payment section, whenever if you are going to the payment section, okay, will it directly asking the OTP or else it is asking for username and password?
Username we need to log in.
No, no. While doing any payments, will it ask for the first time it will ask about to enter the details. Okay. So from after that, every time it will ask for OTP. Directly it
Yes.
will goes to the OTP. It will not ask again any authentication. It will not ask just OTP. It will ask. So how it is redirecting to the banking account? Okay, how it is redirecting to the bank account without giving any details. Okay, this is used by using REST services. REST services means nothing but this is API calling. API is nothing but application programming interface. Application programming interface. Okay, this is called API. So how this APIs will work? Okay, I will explain it now. So for example, for now, consider this is an Zomato application. Okay, or any sorry, first consider this as an banking application. I will consider this as the ICICI Bank application. Okay, this is the ICICI Bank application I have. Okay, in the same way, I have one more web application which is nothing but Zomato. Okay, I have one more web application. Okay, this is Zomato web application. Zomato. Okay, this application is developed using Java. Okay, this application iBank, ICICI Bank developed using Python. Okay, different languages. Okay, so here from the front side, front end, we log in into the Zomato application, and here I ordered some items. Now I need to do the payment. Okay, so from payment, again I need to in previously before using the REST services, they will redirect it to this front end application of the bank. Again, they will check whether the user present or not and do all the operations. Okay, and at last it will detect the amount. So this is taking so much time to complete the transaction. So what they have done, they introduced the REST services where we can access the service layer of another application directly. Okay, where we can access the service layer from one application to another application. Okay, the communication, this is called a REST services. REST services is nothing but communication between REST services, REST. So, okay, REST services, REST is nothing but representational state transfer. Okay, this is called REST services. Okay, REST services, what is meant by REST? REST is nothing but communication between two applications. The communication between two different applications. Maybe one application is developed with Python or other application is developed with Java. Okay, communication between two different applications is called REST. So here it will access the data. Okay, whatever the data, it will request for the amount, and for requested for OTP and authenticate, and the payment is done. That's it. Simple transaction within roughly it will take 15 seconds to complete a transaction. Okay, so REST services are nothing but, so here we have a client. Client is nothing but we are using a mobile Zomato, right? This is client. Okay, the terminology is client. They will consider this as a client. Okay, and here we have a server is nothing but banking server. They hit the banking server. All the web applications, okay, were deployed in the server only. Okay, so here they will have a server. This is client is nothing but we are using Zomato in mobile. So from mobile we are trying to access the server. So this is called client. Consider this as a mobile, not a laptop. Consider this as a mobile. Okay, so mobile to server, I need to, which server it is? Banking server. Which bank it is? iBank. This is a sorry, ICICI Bank server. Okay, from here we are requesting to fetch the data. Okay, from here we are requesting the amount. So first they will authenticate the user. After that it will give the response. Okay, so here there is a some glitch we have here. Okay, it is this Zomato application is developed using which language? Here we told Java language. Okay, Java language. But here the ICICI application in the server, it is developed with Python language. Okay, this is called interpolation. They call it as a interpolation. Interpolation. Okay, so consider, for example, I have a Marathi. For example, I have a Marathi person. Okay, so you are a Telugu guy. Okay, then how can you communicate with this Marathi person? This is Telugu person. This is Marathi person. Okay, how
We
can you?
need an interface.
Yeah, we need some interface. Like we want some bridge language. Nothing but we will use English to communicate, right? So to communicate with this person, we will use English. Okay, because we don't know Marathi. Marathi person don't know Telugu. So how we will the bridge language is English here. In the same way, so here it has to understand about the data, right? This application needs to understand about what type of request they send and which kind of data they send. And also here also Java also understand after getting a response from the Python. Here also they need to understand about the data, what kind of data they send in response. Okay, for this they are using JSON. JSON data they are using. Okay, JSON is nothing but full form of JSON is JavaScript object notation. Okay, JavaScript object notation. We have the data in form of key value pairs. Okay, in this way we will have the data key value pairs. Okay, so okay, in this way we will have a key value. This is called JSON data. Okay, so whenever if you ask for a login, this data, so yeah, so this JSON data will travels, this JSON data will travels, okay, to the server, and here it get validated, and in response also it will give the JSON data, same JSON data it will give. Because whenever talking to Marathi person, first you will ask question in English, right? Any question in English, will he reply in Marathi or else will he reply in English? He will give reply in English language only. In the same way here also, if we send a request, this is the request sending from server client to the server, and this is the response getting from server to client. Okay, this is called client server architecture. This is called client server architecture. Okay, so previously they used the SOAP services. So we have two APIs. One is REST. In olden days they use the SOAP. SOAP is nothing but simple object access protocol. Access protocol. Okay, SOAP is nothing but simple object access protocol. Means for this they use XML language. Here we for REST we are using the JSON language, right? JSON data. In the SOAP they will use the XML. Okay, so why they are using JSON? Because of why they are not using SOAP means, so XML is a heavy object. Heavy object means it occupies more memory compared to JSON. JSON is very less of, very light object, not less, light object. Okay, it does not consume more memory. It just needs some very less memory it needs. Okay, so heavy object means it occupies more memory because whenever we are sending XML data from client, okay, it has to convert into XSD, some other language, means it encrypts the data. Okay, after here XSD, again it has to convert into XML whenever a server, whenever a server receiving the data, it has to convert it again into XML. Again here from XML, can can you please be on mute, Raj? Okay, so from again server will send the XML data and again it will convert it into XSD. Okay, from again here it will comes to XSD. After getting into client, again it will convert into XML. So this will take so much time to send a request and response. So that's why they are using the REST services. Okay, this is about client server architecture. Okay, any queries here regarding about the client server architecture?
Pawan, this is Venkat here. Uh, what is the difference between web service and REST API that you talked about?
Sorry?
You talked about REST APIs, right? So, what is the
Yeah.
difference between web service and REST APIs? Both are same or different?
No, no, the web service is called the REST APIs. Okay, the web services, these are called on web services only. There are two types of web services. One is SOAP service, second one is REST service.
So, how do we see now, as you mentioned, like Zomato want to connect to the ICICI Bank using REST API, how
Mm.
those APIs are getting generated?
So yeah, for that we need to use some APIs. For example, to create APIs in Python, we have frameworks. Okay,
Okay.
so for example, mostly for creating machine learning application to write the APIs, we use the framework Django, not Django, Flask, Flask framework they use. Okay, nowadays we have the Fast API. This is the new kind of framework, Fast API. Okay, nowadays we are using this Fast API, not in India. So I'm doing some projects for US company. So for the US company, they are using the Fast API. Recently, they are using this Fast API. So it was released in 2018. Okay, to write APIs. Okay, see, building RESTful APIs in Python. To create APIs, we need to use this framework. Is it clear?
Yes, Pawan.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So,
And any query?
Pawan, like, how does a Python makes difference when compared with other traditional programming languages like
Hmm.
Java, .NET?
Yeah. Yeah. Now I will tell you the difference. What's the difference between the so you understand about the client server architecture and web application, right? Here
Yes.
you don't have any queries, right? So now, okay, I will move to the next. Okay. So if
And I have one
understand,
more question.
yeah,
One more question.
yeah.
Like, I mean, nowadays, most of the people are trying to learn the other programming languages to some kind of automation in their own profile, like whether they may work in Oracle or DBMS technologies or any other technologies. But most of the people are expecting like to do the automation. They are prefer to use the Python. So what
Mm,
specialty it is having to do more kind of automation tasks in Python when compared with the shell script or the other Perl script? Uh,
okay,
so what kind of advantages it is giving? Um,
okay, I will explain that. So first of all, I will explain what is the importance of Python. Okay, instead of using Java, why we are using Python. So for example, in a layman technology, we will discuss in a layman technology in a layman way, because I don't know whether you know the technology properly or not, but I will explain in a very in simple terms. Okay, so for example, if you consider Java, okay, so Java, what happens is if you consider the JVM means Java. I will not explain about in theoretical way. Okay, I will explain in so for example, if you write a for loop in Java, okay, minimum it will take 1 second. So if you write a Java program, if I want to write a for loop in Java, okay, nearly it will take 4 lines of code. Okay, nearly it will take roughly 4 lines of code. It will. Okay, if you write for loop in Python, 1 line is enough. You can write for loop in 1 line. Okay, so to execute one by one line. Okay, for example, consider for the to execute these 4 lines, it will take 4 seconds. Okay, to execute 1 line, it will take 1 second here. Okay, so comparing to time, which one is the best performance here? Python or Java? Python, because here it is inversely proportional. So whenever the lines of code increases, okay, so whenever lines of code increases, okay, the performance of the application decreases. The performance of the code is performance of the application, vice versa. Okay, so that's why mainly Python will use for the applications where we are using large quantities of data. Okay, if you want to work with large quantities of data, so banking application, every day we have a lot more transactions, right? Every day we are doing the phone pay transactions, GPay transactions. Are these transactions are belong to an account, so which is an ICICI bank, so we need to read all these transactions from other apps also. Okay, so we are day by day we are getting large amounts of data, right? 1 second. Yeah, Sriraj, and please send the details to Kiranmay. She's asking for the details. Sriraj and Subhash.
Sure.
Okay. Just send the details in private chat. Okay. Yeah. So what we're discussing here? Yeah. So we are doing a lot more transactions in a daily basis. We are doing a lots of transactions, right? So to deal with this kind of large amounts of data, here Java will not use, because Java to execute the code only it will take so much time. So now assume that if you have lakhs of data, like 3 lakhs of data to process, so then how much time it will take to process this data, 3 lakhs of data? So that's why they are using Python. So Let a simple example. Daily you are using your YouTube, right? YouTube is developed using Python, developed by Python. Okay, YouTube, and also some NSE applications, network stock exchange, New York Stock Exchange or network. I think New York NSE, New York. Sorry, not network. New York Stock Exchange. Okay, they will use the Python only to process the data. Okay, so most of the banking applications also they will use Python, not Java, because we have to process the large quantities of data, right? So to deal with that kind of data, we need to use the Python and also in automation. Okay, so here I will explain some simple example. Okay, I think it will. Okay, so for the time being, I will explain it tomorrow. Okay, so so in this way, most of the times they will use the Python. Now you cleared about the doubt, Raj. Hello, Raj. Is
Yes,
it clear
clear.
now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So in the simple layman way, if I want to speak in technically, I can speak, but you are not able to understand because whether I don't know that you have knowledge on Python or not. So that's why I'm explaining
No,
in
I don't
layman
have
terms.
knowledge.
Oh,
Actually, I'm
okay, okay.
working in Oracle technology.
Mhm.
So, no, we are trying to do, multiple automation tasks. So, uh, we need to have some knowledge on Python. We did
Okay.
some automation using shell script, but people are expecting to do it on the Python
Yeah, shell scripting will not up to the mark because to get the data from different sources we need to get. Maybe you are using Splunk logs to get the data, or else from the database you are
from
fetching
the
the data.
database. From the
Okay, from
database
the data.
directly. Yeah,
Okay. So you are doing some kind of data pipeline work.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So see, so now coming to the roles, Python roles. So what kind of roles you can apply if you learn Python? Okay, Python roles. So simple. If you want to learn Python, core Python, core Python, and advanced Python. Okay, core Python and advanced Python, not core Python and advanced Python. Okay, you can become as a Python automation developer. Okay, Python automation developer. Okay, so along with the core Python, advanced Python, okay, if you learn some advanced packages like NumPy, okay, Pandas, okay, and data visualization libraries like Matplotlib or Plotly, any one, okay, Matplotlib or Plotly. These are the libraries, okay. If you learn these libraries, you can become as a data pipeline engineer or data analyst or pipeline engineer. Okay, pipeline engineer means you will create a pipelines. Okay, I will explain about pipeline also. And here you need to understand, first of all, you have business knowledge also to become as a you have law. You need to know about business. Okay, to become a data analyst. Okay, so apart from this, okay, if you learn core Python and advanced Python, you can become as a web application developer, and you need to learn some frameworks frameworks. Okay, frameworks like frameworks like Django. Okay, Flask, and Fast API. Any one framework you can learn. Okay, so you can become as a web application developer. Web application developer. Okay, so same, having knowledge on core Python and advanced Python. Okay, and any one framework knowledge, for example, consider as a Flask. Okay, and a skiller. This is the package which is related to machine learning. Okay, you can become, after learning all this, you can become as a machine learning engineer, ML engineer. Okay, in the same way, Python and one framework, Flask or Fast API. Okay, so for the machine learning, they will not use the Django. Django is only for web application development. Okay, so they will not use the, for machine learning and deep learning engineer, they will not use Django framework. They will use Flask or Fast API. Okay, we use the Flask framework. Okay, and here you need to learn about a package called TensorFlow, some other packages for TensorFlow, and some other packages you need to learn. Tensor, not AF. This is R. TensorFlow. Okay, you can become as a deep learning engineer. Deep learning engineer. Okay, so if you have some knowledge on both ML and DL, you can call this as a AI application. Sorry, artificial intelligence, AI developer. Okay, so these are the roles. So for all these roles, you have basic knowledge of database also. Database basic knowledge you need to have. Okay, so this is about the Python automation. So in day one only, you want to learn all these things is very difficult. Okay, so first you have to become as a Python automation developer. Okay, go into some project. Okay, after getting some project in a company, you just learn one by one. So later on, you have to update for these NumPy advanced libraries. So after getting, go to the some framework, any one framework, Flask or API. Don't go for Django, because nowadays for machine learning, most of the times they are using these frameworks only. Because if you want to become a web application developer, go and learn this Django. Okay, but for machine learning and deep learning, they will not use Django. They will use Flask or Fast API only. Okay, so in step by you need to learn step by step. Okay, don't try to learn once at a time, because it will take so much time. Not only, if you want to learn all these things, it will take at least 1 year. Okay, so first complete this core and advanced Python, then after learn this NumPy, pandas, and matplotlib packages. Okay, so this is about the roles.
So in this course, Pawan, we learn core Python and advanced. Or
Advanced Python, yeah. Yeah, I will explain about the course content also. Okay, now, so your repositories. So all these my repositories. So this is about Python, REST services, database, data analysis, machine learning, okay, deep learning, BI tools, front-end technology. So all these are, but I've given only some for the some repositories. I've given the access, because yeah. So this is my course content. Okay. And you don't need to prepare any notes also. Okay, everything I will give you access to you.
S-
Okay,
Suppose I'm
and
looking for a core Python in that case.
hmm, only core
Are we
Python,
covering?
only core Python. How using
Uh,
only core Python will you develop any automation? It is not possible. I think you
no, no,
need
no.
to have some. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, are we covering both the core and advanced or only advanced?
yeah, core and advanced both we are covering. See here we
Ah,
are the
okay.
core, advanced, oops concepts also. Okay, so after that, after completion of the role, so I will explain one project, the recent project. Okay, I will explain about the projects also here. So projects, I will place these projects in a private, and I will not give the code. Okay, just I will explain the code, go through the code. That's it. Because these codes are now it is using at present. Recently, I got this project. Um, Recently means past API. Last week I got this project. Okay, this is users based project, mobile ITMFS data collection. Okay, so I will not give the code. Okay, I will just explain how it getting executed. That's it.
Could you explain the course content once again, please?
Yeah. So the course content is, so for total 45 days. Okay, for the 45 days, I will explain the first Python introduction and the operators, input output statement, flow control, strings, and list data structures, list tuple set dictionary. Okay, after this, I will explain functions. So up to here, generators, and iterators. So up to here, this is the core Python. So after that, here we will discuss about exception handling, file handling, and all the OOPS concepts. Okay, and at last, database connectivity. So how we are connecting, how we are accessing the data from different sources like flat files, database, or web. How can we access the data from the web application? All these things. Okay. After connecting to the database, at last, you have the interview questions here only. You can prepare the interview questions. Okay. These two notebooks have interview questions. Okay.
Arrays and NumPy pandas were not covered.
No. For the data analysis, in within 45 days, it is very difficult to cover the NumPy and pandas also. So we are planning to take we are planning to take a new batch for the data analysis, NumPy pandas for these libraries. Okay, basic we will cover, but we will not go into the depth. Okay, because it will
Okay.
take so much time. It will take
Machine
nearly
learning and deep learning concepts won't be covered.
no. Who is this?
Okay.
Who is asking this doubt? Nikita.
Yeah.
So Nikat. Okay. So who will cover for all the concepts? Means you are asking for machine learning concepts also for
Actually, I don't know the
in
course
one
content.
course.
That's why I'm asking.
Okay, so actually it will take so much time to learn. Okay, to learn the machine learning also. But
Mhm.
first of all, you need to be good in Python. Then only it is very easy to cover the remaining libraries also. Don't worry, I will plan a session for the NumPy and Pandas also, and I will ask
Okay.
the team and to try to connect the sessions. Because it will take nearly 15 days to complete the data analysis also, the NumPy advanced libraries. Okay.
Okay.